So now again, we start looking for other things to build on the foundation. There's gaps in the grooves. Sometimes we like to fill in those gaps with like a snare. I'm a drum guy, so really my whole thing is, for me, in this process, it's as crazy as it may sound, you'll start to hear little melodies. You know what I mean? At this point, sometimes like I'll hear certain things and I use just a basic sine wave to start filling in some of the gaps. I would use a mono one, obviously. Who needs a stereo sine wave? And I like to write, obviously sine wave, you don't really hear it much. So write it in an octave where you could hear it and then transpose it down. This is when you can start messing with the swing too, you know what I mean? Not that there's much of swing here, but. And again, we go in and we cut, make sure we cut all that low, that 40 hertz, 30 hertz. You don't need it, it just makes a mess. Starting to get groovy now, you know what I mean? Lower the velocity, obviously, because you hear how loud it was? 127, too loud. Again, start experimenting with filling in the gaps. It's a vibe, man. I mean, at the end of the day, what we do in the studio, it's about just creating that vibe, you know what I mean? Something that moves you. When my ass starts moving in the seat, we're going in the right direction, you know what I mean? And technically, you know, if I spend more than 2 minutes on an idea, it's too long. It's not right, move on. You know, sometimes our ego is like, but come on, you gotta do this. That's what I heard. Well, you know what? It's not working. So you just keep it moving, creating a vibe. You know what I mean? And don't be afraid to say that shit is whack. You know, like this note, I don't really like that last note I put in. So we take it out. Take it out. So now we have this gap here, you hear it? Ba-dum, boom, 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 boom. Let's find something for that last quarter note. Maybe like a stab. Something that we could put a cool delay on it and just start building the track and designing the colors and the sounds, you know what I mean? Who's here? Who uses Logic X over here? All right, you guys are familiar with the chord trigger? That's the best thing, and that's amazing to me. So let's go ahead and put a little chord trigger on this. And maybe we can come up with something real that'll make it go like this, or something different. Let's take us out of the regular, the one note thing. Take some of that. So it sounds pretty cool. Now let's give it some depth. Let's give it some character. Let's give it its own space. Let's try like some tape delay on it. And bring it an octave lower. I think it's a little too. Cool, right? Another thing I like to do with sounds like this, sounds that don't have a lot of attack, transients, is I like to put a sample delay. You guys use sample delay at all? Just to kind of open it up, make it more stereo. So now we experiment. Do we put it after the delay or before? Let's try, let's see what sounds better. You hear how it opened up, right? We got a pretty cool groove, right? It's just, it's groovy, right? Everybody's happy? Yeah. Do we like it? Is it whack? Should we start over? Maybe now's a good time to maybe take those bass notes that we put in, and let's just maybe find a cool layer for it, if possible. Maybe we could take something out of that. So let's copy that channel. Option drag down. We're gonna write it loud and mess with the velocities. with another sample delay on it. I use sample delay a lot, but with sample delay, you gotta be real careful because next thing you know, the track is falling. So on the other sound I think I use the top one. Now let's use the bottom one a little less just to keep everything. Let's try a little chord trigger on that. Maybe we'll come up with some crazy shit. Let's try it. See what I'm saying? Now that shit just became the boss of the track. So now we're gonna build around that. You follow what I'm saying?